They say efforts never betray you, though they may betray your dreams. I think we can all understand that to some degree, especially now when times are hard and things are not going the way we intended. The prices of things keep getting higher, and we just try to do our best to maintain. I understand that more now than I ever did when making these YouTube videos. I feel like my efforts pay off by getting them made, but my dream is slowly dying and I feel like it's not worth much. Just like Forspoken. Forspoken to me is a very interesting game. None the least, I did not love it, nor did I hate it. It was just a meddling game. It was barely okay.
What?
Would I recommend it? No. Would I replay it? No. Well, actually, I did replay it, but like I replayed it to get footage because the first time I played it, I didn't record it because that wasn't like what I wanted to do. But like that was just side. But like, would I actually replay it for fun? No, not me. No, I would not do that.
This looks like a big one.
No. But anyway, to me, it felt like a meddling game, like Assassin's Creed games, like a game you play, and it's like, that was good, I guess. When you're young and you think Assassin's Creed is good, and then you get older and you realize that Assassin's Creed really sucks, and like 90% of the game is just trailing missions or doing a bunch of stuff that you don't like, or everything is cuz Templars, or they like throw that random plot twist like, oh, the assassins kinda were the bad guys this time. It's Assassin's Creed is no bad game, but it felt like a meddling game like that, and I did like some aspects of the game. Like I didn't hate the game. Like it was a lot of things that I did like about the game, specifically like the environmental design of some of the places. Praenos and what is it, Visoria? I don't think I like those two. I did like places like Avolet, which were just really intriguing to look at. I really liked it, the blue, and how it was just nice to look at. I feel like Praenos in the beginning was kind of cool. Then like the middle part got boring because it just felt like everything looked the exact same way. But in Avolet, I like the fact that the map was smaller, so my curiosity was piqued, but not to the point of like extreme annoyance, unlike Praenos, which was just really big and really empty. Which was also the thing with Visoria too. Visoria was really big and super empty. Like it was just flatlands, and it was boring to look at because there was nothing to look at, and it was in this green yellow hue color that I didn't like. This looked barfy. I didn't like that. It was boring. But Avolet, at least you could unlock the little surfing ability and surf on the water, which the game severely lacked in my opinion for me to have to invest in that specific ability and level it up. But I digress. The next place was Janoon, which you land first. I liked how Janoon looked. It gave like a warm vibe, like a warm earthy feeling. Like you could tell it was a place of natural healing and herbs or whatever. Like it gave a lot of the feelings of this is where we grow medicine. This is a place that was loved by people. Praenos definitely gave this is where we have wars. This is where we practice for war. And Visoria just gave bland. I don't know what that was supposed to do, but those were the places that I really liked, which was just Janoon and Avolet. I also liked the banter between Mr. Van Brace and Frey, which I think a lot of people didn't like. I loved it. It was so funny to me. Like hearing him always either complain about Frey lacking the ability to fight simple enemies, or actually doing a good job but saying it in the most sarcastic way possible, or there's the back and forth about the break or how she would say things in her colloquial terms from New York. I loved the banter. It made the journey feel fun. It reminded me of like playing Final Fantasy 15. How you like on this road trip with the bros. It's just like you're on a road trip with your best bud, but they weren't best buds, but it was just like that back and forth banter, which made the game feel better to play in terms of it wasn't a lot to look at, so you know, at least there was something going on from time to time. um I also liked it, the fact of how, you know, Cuff sets Frey up to do all the things that Frey doesn't want to do by doing it as subliminally as possible, whether it be by withholding information or just telling her just enough to get her to commit to a task. It was magnificent. It was magnificent how he could orchestrate how to get her to go exactly where he wanted her to go and do exactly what he wanted her to do, and how it made you feel like Frey was the one making all the decisions when in reality she wasn't. I liked it, that design. It was refreshing, it was cool. And then, you know, by the end of the game, you know, to eventually know that you kind of look back and you're just like, oh, that he had me playing out his hand the entire time. But it's really cool. It's really cool how they did that. That was another thing that I really liked. The magic was okay, and sometimes it felt amazing, but only hours after playing and upgrading spells and armors, or getting the right nail polish, or doing labyrinths and fighting the bosses. That was cool and all, but it just felt like in the beginning of the game you were just severely weak, which I get, but it was just like to the level of like even fighting regular enemies was annoying. You know, by the time you get to the end of the game, you kind of decked out with all the spells and stuff, which makes literally the game so much more fun because you have more options in terms of traversal. You have more options in terms of combat. You have more options in terms of healing, defense, all of those things, which the game severely lacks in the first like 20 hours of, depending on how you play. For me, it took me a minute to get to the first boss because I was trying to get like every chest and collect everything on the map. So it's really more of a depending on how you play, but I just feel like it takes way too long to get to that point in the game where you can indeed just have fun with the magic system. So that was a downside and an upside for me. The interactions with the characters was bland and forgettable outside of Slideshow Bob and the bosses. I honestly don't remember much about many of the characters outside of the fact of, you know, like kind of key plot moments, but it wasn't enough to like really give me a character's exact disposition and stuff like that. Like the characters weren't really that fleshed out. Like you only interact with them in this really estranged medium, which is just Sapal, which is like the last bastion of humanity. So everybody kind of has this either like over melancholy thing or like trying to find the best in everything disposition. So it's just like real hit or miss. So with the characters outside of like the bosses, Slideshow Bob, Frey, Cuff, they all kind of just felt like whatever. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't exactly say unscathed.
As a wise man once said, this game is and was a sad game. It was a sad, bad game, to be exactly what he said. He said it was a sad, bad game. And he was right. This game is made by one of the best studio, arguably one of the best studios in the world, who have made some of the greatest games to date. Specifically, my favorite franchise, Final Fantasy. So to make a meddling game like this while still being a top studio is crazy. Even though we've seen things like Balan Wonderworld or Left Alive or all of those other, you know, shelf games at GameStop that you were just like unsure about, it's still crazy to me that they would invest this much effort into a game just for it not to pay off. But is it because their efforts betrayed them? Or is it because the game's audio soundtrack is worth more than the actual game? Whoops, did I say that out loud in the video?